we've been trained to connect with our clients and our patients through an alliance, specifically through a therapeutic alliance. So healthcare providers who then transform into healthcare leaders, and in fact, business owners and business leaders struggle to find the way to make the connection with their team, because most of the time we're simply transferring a therapeutic alliance into a leadership alliance. I'm Valerie Ling. I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm the director and founder of a psychology practice in Sydney, Australia. And I am here today to talk to you about how you can get out of another level of private practice leadership prison into private practice leadership freedom. So it's been drilled into you. It's not how much you know. It's not all the fancy tricks that you do in the room that really helps or makes the difference when it comes to seeing your client. People want to be heard. They want to be seen and they want to be understood. And so we've been trained to understand and really to very quickly implement the processes and mechanisms of a therapeutic alliance that builds therapeutic trust. But does that mean it's exactly the same mechanism and the same type of trust that we build when we are leading our team? Not quite. So let me unpack this with you right now. The Therapeutic Alliance. The reason why that is there is because most of the time when we are in a clinical setting, we're seeing vulnerable clients. People who may not have had any experience of a healthcare provider. There's going to be different levels of ambivalence as to whether change is in the picture. We might need to figure out how we're going to motivate clients to actually move from one stage to another. And so we know that an alliance based on trust is really important. And what are those foundations of trust when we are dealing with vulnerable populations as a healthcare provider? Well, they need to know that you're credible, that you're confident, but more importantly, that you're compassionate and warm. Have you ever had one of those experiences where you yourself have gone for a health checkup and it looks like the practitioner in front of you isn't really interested? They're not really sure about what they're doing, and actually they haven't even found out your name or who's in your family or what you do. You're just not feeling that you're a human being or that you're in the room with someone who's interested and knows what they're doing. So we work really hard as clinicians to build the ability to build trust. We learn about our posture. We learn how to lean in. We learn about tone of voice. We learn how to pace. We learn how to be interested. We learn how to convey warmth and empathy. And that is what we know as an alliance. However, when we're leading a team of, and often a mixed team, you're going to have your clinical staff and you're also going to have your support staff. Yes, we still need to have some kind of an alliance, because without followers, you're not a leader. You're probably more of a dictator. So you still have to win trust. You still have to win the right to say the things that you say, and you still have to win over the ability of your team to actually trust and follow what you're saying, even when there might be uncertainty or anxiety. So yes, it is a kind of alliance, but it's not a therapeutic alliance. And here's where we get into trouble when we lead. We use the same posturing, the same dynamics, the same pacing, the same timing to build the alliance as a leader of a healthcare practice. But that's not going to work. Here's a few reasons why it's not going to work. First of all, you don't need to assume that you're dealing with a vulnerable population. you probably have in front of you some fairly well-educated, well-intentioned, motivated, keen individuals who really don't need to be seen or want to be seen as being incompetent. We need to start with the understanding that our team are waiting for us to build an alliance that is not based on a clinical platform where we are waiting for someone to share their vulnerability and to earn their trust. It's different. It's a totally different paradigm. Next, trust means a different thing when we're leading a team. Yes, it's really important that we show interest in our team in terms of who they are and their families. In fact, part of being an effective leader is actually having an authentic connection with the people that we lead. It is really important. But the trust that they need is to know what sort of a culture, what sort of a team, how do you actually deal with the ethics of seeing your clients? What are the ways, the systems and the processes and the procedures that give ample information that this is a place that takes quality care of clients and a place that they can feel that they belong to with pride and also with peace. We're in a happy situation at the moment as a private practice where quite a lot of times the people who apply to us have actually already been following us either on social media. In fact, I will tell you this very interesting story. Very recently, in the last 12 months, a clinical psychologist who applied for our position actually told me that they had seen our advertisement in 2016. This is now 2022, 6 years ago when she was visiting where we used to have our practice. And in fact, she took a photo and she sent it to her family and said, one day I'm going to work in this place. And she actually showed me the evidence of the message because I could not believe it. Even today, interviewing another new person who had approached us to say, listen, I really like the sound of you guys. And I'm like, tell me what you mean. I know your ethos. I know your philosophy. I've watched the videos on your website. I know what you're on about. I really like quality work. And we were able to have a conversation to say, well, that's the thing about working with the Center for Effective Living, is this is a practice with high clinical standards. We expect the best care for our clients. And so we expect that as a team, we will fulfill the calling that it will actually set us apart to give that quality service. The trust in our teams at one level has got to do with knowing that you're a leader that sets an agenda for quality care and an agenda to actually make sure that the service is credible and ethical and professional. Then there's another level of trust. Healthcare providers are also a lot of heart. They are human beings who have an interest in other people. In my early days, I tended to not want to intrude and to stay really private, and I wanted to give my team privacy, and I didn't want to, be in their space or in their face. And so I wouldn't spend a lot of time actually doing chit chat and finding out about them. Big mistake. In a recent survey that I did of my team, I found out that not all of them knew whether or not I was interested in their personal lives or whether or not I would even know what was going on in their personal life. That really set me back. And I discovered that because healthcare professionals have a lot of heart, they actually want to know us as a human being. And so trust as a leader, not so much in sitting down in a room, like where I'm at right now in our practice, doing therapy with one another. It's more just about having curiosity, an appropriate level of concern. They're the corridor conversations that we have. They're popping into the office and actually checking in and asking, how was the weekend? Knowing that they love dogs, knowing that some like coffee, some don't. It's actually about building the trust that says, as a professional, I'm not too different as a person. I find that that's a really helpful way to think about building personal trust that isn't about a therapeutic alliance with our team. Our team need to know that as a professional and as a person, we're not very different. We can't be soft and generous and genuine with clients and walk out and demand things from our team. That is not going to provide an authentic space where our team know that they can trust us as a person. Finally, the type of trust that our team needs is trust that is transparent. Our team need to know what is expected of them. They need to know what their roles are. They need to know when they're doing great work. They need to know how they can improve. And very often when we're healthcare providers, we see this as conflict. We categorize these communications as being negative and contentious and conflictual. No, they're not. They're leadership conversations that builds trust. When we say, hey, you never have to guess. I will tell you in an emotionally even way when we need to have a conversation about something that may not be working. Equally, you never have to guess to know whether or not the work was great, good, wonderful, exemplary. We want to be able to have patterns of communication, criteria and roles and descriptions and dialogue to make sure that our team actually know what they need to do for their job, when they're doing fantastic, and how and when they're going to get that feedback that's going to help them to improve. Because the bottom line is this: we're not having therapeutic conversations, we're having leadership conversations that say, I can see that you have the potential to. I can see that you're really gifted in. I can see that the tasks and the roles that we've been given to you have been done in. Trust is about transparency and ensuring that our team know exactly where they stand, know exactly what they need to do, and to know exactly how they're going to get that input and feedback. Hopefully you have found this little piece interesting. If you'd like to hear more, make sure that you click on the subscribe button so that you always know when I pop up the next video. Cheers.